I want to talk about 7 ways of influencing people. All the influence you see is really one of these, and it can be really positive in terms of advertising, marketing, selling, persuading, coaching, supporting. But some may see influence as possibly negative as well, where it can be manipulative. So it's really useful to be aware of the 7 different ways we can influence or be influenced, so we are alive to the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses, and choose how we want to respond. The first is similarity. Because you like me and because you're like me, we should do this thing. I'm doing this, you should do this. You do this because we're friends. It is amazing what we can be persuaded to do because somebody is similar to us in their thoughts, their feelings, their outlook. And because we like them, we will do the things that they do. So that's really interesting as a way of influencing, because we influence our friends, we influence the family, we influence people who we like and who are like us. Do it to reciprocate. Repay a past debt. I did this for you, you should do that for me. The I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Paying back favours. Oh, that was very kind of you, you helped me out there, of course I'll help you out here. Reciprocity is fundamental to the human condition. It's how we work in teams, tribes, communities. It's how we barter. It's this idea of exchanging money. There is this feeling that whatever we should do, we should somehow repay it. Not necessarily always in cash, sometimes in kindness. But reciprocity is a very persuasive thing. Do it because everybody else is doing it. Social proof. If there is a long queue outside an ice cream van or a packed restaurant, we will sit there and think, actually, there seems to be some social proof there. Everybody else is doing that. That must be the thing that I should do too. And very often we are persuaded by queues and waiting lists. And because everybody else is saying something or doing something, like fashion or music, do it because everybody else is doing it. It really tugs at our sense of belonging and can be incredibly persuasive. Scarcity is another thing that really motivates us. We are, of course, animals that have been around for 3 million years, and so we're aware of scarcity of resources, of famine, and so we have a natural inclination to harvest, to stockpile, like squirrels gathering nuts. There is something innate within us where if we think it's a limited time offer, it's a once only opportunity, then we really need to do this now. So this idea of scarcity, only 20 days left, 5 products left, selling fast, there's almost none left, the opportunity is closing. All of these ideas of scarcity encourage us and influence us in our decision making. Do it to be consistent. If you've done this and you've done that, then it's logical that you would do the other. Do it to be consistent. If you are the type of person that would drive a certain type of car, wear a certain type of clothes, you have a certain type of lifestyle. So this idea of consistency with the image that we have of ourselves, with the morals or values or religion that we hold, there are loads of things with whom we want to be consistent. Okay, because that coherence is part of our being, whether it's legal, decent and honest, or faithful and loyal, whatever that core thing is, we try to be consistent with that. So understanding what is important to somebody is really useful to understanding the consistency of their behavior, their thinking and their decision making. You can believe me, I'm an authority. We dress police officers in uniforms, doctors and nurses have uniforms, firemen, fire ladies, all have uniforms. The uniform service conveys this sense of authority. Likewise, doctorates, certificates, qualifications. All of these things confer upon somebody a gravitas, a sense of real authority and a reason why we should fall into line and comply, to do what the teacher says, to follow the boss's orders, to do what the judge directs us to do. So any signs of authority can be incredibly persuasive, even down to things like traffic lights, road signage, etc. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a person that instills that sense of authority. It can be any structure or symbol that conveys upon us a sense of authority. There is a tendency to try and comply with that. Do it or else. This is the last and least favourite. There are circumstances where that do it or else is incredibly important. In an emergency situation where there really isn't time to think, then you just have to do it. But a lot of the other times, do it or else can be coercive or manipulative. So be aware, use wisely. In an emergency situation, you may just have to shout, do that. And it can be incredibly influential on somebody's behaviour. Jump, look out, beware. It can be vitally important, but it can be coercive, it can be threatening. So use this approach wisely. So there you have it. 7 ways to influence or be influenced. And it's really useful to think about that, not just in our day-to-day communications, but also how we market and present ourselves, and what lends credibility to what we have to say, just the way we say it, and the approaches we take to bolster that argument and exert our influence. If this has been useful, I have a whole variety of tools, templates, techniques and training. Please do get in contact. I'll be very happy to answer any questions and see how I may be able to help.